Number 10. Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen is known as one of the most versatile players in NBA history, and for good reason. He was an excellent scorer and distributor, as well as an amazing defender. In his time with Chicago, he averaged nearly 7 rebounds, 2 steals, and 1 block. He made the All-Defensive First Team 8 times during those years and accumulated 10 total selections throughout his career. Number 9. Ben Wallace. In the era of the giant big man, where guys like Shaq, Mutombo, Garnett, and Duncan, all of whom were about 7 feet tall, you wouldn't think a guy like Ben Wallace, who stood at just 6'9", would be able to stand out. However, Ben Wallace absolutely stood out. During his first stint with Detroit, where he won a championship in 2004, Wallace averaged nearly 13 rebounds and 3 blocks per game. He was top 10 in blocks and rebounds for all of those years and won Defensive Player of the Year a record-tying 4 times. Number 8. Wilt Chamberlain. Some of the craziest records and stories are attributed to Wilt Chamberlain. He was like Superman. He scored 100 points in one game, averaged 30 points and 23 rebounds for his career, and played just about every single minute of every game. It's hard to mark his defensive impact exactly, since steals and blocks weren't recorded when he played, and the Defensive Player of the Year award wasn't created until after he retired. Even the All-Defensive team didn't exist until later in his career, though he was named to the team twice before retiring. But watching the film tells you enough. He was a dominant force inside. His combination of size and insane athleticism made him a towering figure that you just did not want to go up against. Number 7. Michael Jordan. There's so much you can say about Michael Jordan. One of the greatest defenders of all time is one of them. He was selected to the All-Defensive Team 9 times and won Defensive Player of the Year in 1988 when he averaged over 3 steals and 1.5 blocks per game. In fact, he's 3rd all-time in total steals and is one of only 3 guards in the top 20 for defensive win shares in NBA history. Jordan was a scoring machine for sure, but his defensive ability just added to the resume that puts him as the greatest player of all time. Number 6. Gary Payton. Gary Payton didn't have the nickname of the Glove for no reason. He earned that name by being one of the toughest defenders ever. He was selected to the All-Defensive First Team 9 times and won Defensive Player of the Year in 1996, becoming one of only 6 guards to win the award and the only point guard ever to win. His scoring abilities combined with his lockdown defense are what made him one of the top point guards of his era. Number 5. Dikembe Mutombo. Mutombo, along with the aforementioned Ben Wallace, won the Defensive Player of the Year award 4 times, a record, and was named to 6 all-defensive teams. Needless to say, defense was Mutombo's specialty, who became famous for his signature finger wag done after a game-changing block, which happened a lot. He averaged nearly 3 blocks per game for his career and had 2 seasons where he averaged over 4 per game. This, along with his rebounding prowess, definitely earned him a spot on this list. Number 4. Hakeem Olajuwon. Hakeem Olajuwon is one of the greatest players of all time. He's number 3 on our list, and his stellar defense is one reason why. In his prime, Hakeem was scoring 20-plus points, grabbing 12 to 14 rebounds, blocking 3 to 4 shots or more, and stealing the ball a couple of times. He literally did everything. He's 13th all-time in total rebounds, 1st in blocks, 8th in steals, the only center in the top 20 in steals actually, 13th in defensive rating, and 4th in defensive win shares. Number 3. Dennis Rodman. Most players on this list had a pretty balanced game between offense and defense. Dennis Rodman was all defense. We're talking about a guy that averaged just over 7 points and 13 rebounds for his career. In fact, Rodman averaged double-digit points just once, but consistently averaged 12-plus rebounds. He had 6 seasons where he averaged 15 or more rebounds per game and nearly averaged 19 per game for one season. With his unique blend of size and strength, Rodman could guard literally any position from point guard to center, definitely making him one of the greatest defenders ever. Number 2. David Robinson. David Robinson doesn't usually get mentioned when discussing all-time greats, but he's certainly up there, especially as a defender. He averaged over 10 rebounds per game for his career and 3 blocks. He was named Defensive Player of the Year in 1992 and made 8 All-Defensive teams. At 7'1" and about 235 pounds, he was a formidable body down low that could move quickly and block even hard-to-reach shots. He didn't win MVP for nothing. David Robinson led the Spurs on both ends of the court. Number 1. Bill Russell. In the 50s and 60s, the big man battle was between Wilt and Bill Russell. Russell won most of the time, accumulating 11 championships, 11 All-NBA selections, and 5 MVP awards. As with Wilt, it's hard to exactly measure Russell's impact without certain numbers and awards, but anyone who averaged over 22 rebounds for their career was definitely a standout on that end of the court. And it is telling that he was named to the very first All-Defensive First Team. All in all, his shot blocking and one-on-one defense is probably second to none.